Pirates of the Caribbean. Why Will Turner made the best Davy Jones substitute? Captain Jack Sparrow, who is evading the Royal Navy, enters a blacksmith shop and is confronted by the apprentice, Will Turner, played Orlando Bloom. It turns out that Will is the descendant of a reputable pirate who was killed for opposing a revolt. He inherited his father Bootstrap Bill's commitment to fairness and justice. But when it came to choosing a successor to Davy Jones, it came down to Jack and Will, one of whom desired to escape death and the other who desired a new world in which being a pirate wasn't a sign of being a traitor to the throne. Will consistently demonstrates throughout the Pirates of the Caribbean series that being cunning, foolish, and kind are traits of a good guy and a pirate. In Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, Jack visits Tia Dalma, Naomi Harris, a voodoo practitioner, after being cursed with a black mark. During her visit, she tells Will that he possesses a certain amount of destiny, something as enigmatic as the sea and Tia Dalma herself. It turns out that this stroke of luck is more like a predetermined rebirth because Will is the heir apparent to Davy Jones. The name Davy Jones, according to Marine Insight, was the seaman's devil who commanded the Flying Dutchman and was given a mission by Calypso to transport the souls of sailors who perished at sea. With the exception of the possibility that Davy Jones could be cursed and replaced, Disney went close to the original story. Typically, Disney movie villains are the ones to cast curses, yet many of the villains in the pirate story have been doomed. Davy Jones is about to be freed from his curse, according to Will's sign from the universe. Will initially gives the impression of being the obedient hero in Pirates of the Caribbean. The Curse of the Black Pearl. Despite being saved by the aristocracy, he respects Port Royal's caste system and engages in a sword fight with a pirate so that the Royal Guard can capture the pirate. However, when Elizabeth Swann, the daughter of the governor, is apprehended by Captain Barbossa, Geoffrey Rush, and the crew of the Black Pearl, he frees Jack from jail, takes control of a royal ship, and even assists Jack in escaping a hanging, all in the course of one movie. Will is a hero, and he serves as a model for the popular Marvel characters of today. His idea of doing the right thing for the sake of doing the right thing is really quite brilliant. He may appear to act to save Elizabeth, who is not a damsel in need, but he also demonstrates that his moral character is anchored in all types of love. Will is enslaved on the Flying Dutchman after being tricked by Jack and meets up with his father, Bootstrap Bill, Stellan Skarsgård. There, Will swears to his father that he will liberate Davy Jones once he finds the whereabouts of the chest key. But he has to give up his own life in order to keep that vow. Despite his desire for Elizabeth and his love for her, he heeds a greater call by freeing his father and all of the passengers on the Flying Dutchman from Calypso's curse. This desire to act morally for the benefit of the group as a whole is an indication of compassion, which many heroes lack. For modern moviegoers, heroes act morally because they are either ordered to or feel compelled to save the city. Will joins the group of heroes that includes Tony Stark, who gives his life to save the universe. The biggest complaint from Pirates of the Caribbean fans is that Orlando Bloom's Will Turner is a dull straight man in contrast to Johnny Depp's comic Jack Sparrow. It wasn't until 2020 that Bloom addressed the intense hostility toward his role, according to Cinema Blend. It's not easy to pull that straight guy off, do you know what I mean? And in a way, the emotional connection between Elizabeth and Will was what it was all about. Will has a depth that other straight boys in movies do not have thanks to the thread Bloom is referring to. These characters frequently lack emotional complexity and view women as expendable. Will, however, regards Keira Knightley's Elizabeth as being on a par with him. In Pirates of the Caribbean, when the 7 pirate lords gathered, Jack designates Elizabeth as king of the pirates at the end of the world. Will says maybe Jack does know what he's doing in response to this. Because Elizabeth is a force to be reckoned with and works to advance the improvement of the world, he has a profound affection and admiration for her. Governor Weatherby Swan's deputy, James Norrington, Jack Davenport, is one of Port Royal's commanding officers, Jonathan Price. Unfortunately, Norrington loses his standing in the Royal Navy as a result of his vendetta against Jack, whom he holds responsible for his life's demise. Norrington, Jack, and will argue about who gets the chest on the deserted island of Isla Cruces, where Davy Jones buried the chest containing his heart. Jack and Norrington are both seeking the heart out of selfish motives. Jack wants to live forever, and Norrington wants to use the Navy to make amends. Will, however, requires the chest in order to keep his commitment to his father. A commitment becomes law for Will, which is a recurring theme throughout his life. Even when he loses a battle, he picks up his sword and continues to battle. Will battles through his 3 appearances despite the odds being against him. There is no other pirate like Jack. He is clever, foolish, and the anti-hero. He moves at all times for the purpose of protecting himself. He considers piercing Davy Jones' heart to prevent death, even if it means he can only step on land once every 10 years. The issue with Jack taking over as captain of the Flying Dutchman is that he runs the risk of bringing a curse on the ship by acting egotistically. Will has many qualities that make him the best option, but he also shares one with many pirates: foolishness. Many people will consider thinking creatively and inevitably outside of the box, but Jack and Will consider there to be no such thing as a box. Together with Elizabeth, Will is audacious enough to address issues with ridiculousness and even half-baked solutions. Maybe you need a crazy mind to ferry souls to